confident to say she has absolutely found her own style, and I'm really proud to bring her up today. Like I said, she's a friend, she's a mentor, an incredible part of this team. Please help me in welcoming Monica DeMeritis.
Wow, that was incredible. Thank you, David. Someone said to me at lunch, I'm going to get deep into my story today, but somebody said it to me at lunch, said, this is a lot of information to take in. And if you're feeling that way, I want you to relax because you are taking in exactly what you need. I want you to understand that. If you got it all at once, you wouldn't experience the growth that you need. Just like a lot of people, if they win the lottery, they lose it within a year. You're here to experience a journey, a transformation. When you transform up here, which what Arash is teaching us, everything else will follow through. So it might feel like a lot right now. When I first started out, it felt like I wanted to take in every lesson right away. I wanted to implement it right away. I wanted to experience it all right away. But I felt like I was forcing that type of lesson. What you want to do is relax and just know that you are taking in exactly what you need while you're here with us in the next 2 days. And then as you start to grow and evolve, you're going to continue to become obsessed with this and you're going to want more and more. Your lessons will start to appear for you that's meant for you as well. But I do want to go back to what Arash said this morning to congratulate all of you for coming here. You did not have 2 free days out of your schedule just free. You carved out time to be here with us to transform, to evolve, to grow. That is a lifestyle choice. You will start to make decisions like this for yourself. You are being a leader by being here, so you are already successful. You chose to be here with us. So I want to congratulate all of you for being here. And that is a form of self-respect. I had to gain a lot of self-respect for myself in my journey, and you'll see the transition because what David said is true. You know, I did not have a lot of confidence in myself. I had no idea how I could create the goals I wanted to create, accomplish what I want to accomplish. But I did have a lot of desire. I did have a lot of passion, and that's going to carry you. But the self-respect you earn by being here with us and you keep continuing that proximity, there's no price on what you're experiencing internally. So I want to go through a couple things that have helped me transition in my journey. And these words, inspire, courage, and passion, have constantly carried me throughout my journey. I believe all of you guys are here because you are inspired by something. You went inside of yourself. You maybe saw something in Arash, in our team. You maybe saw someone that is where you want to be. You're like, I can do that. You were inspired by something inside of you, sparked inside of you, and you chose to be here. But I also believe every single one of you are here to inspire others as well. Through our actions, you are already inspiring others. Now, whether it's your family, whether it's your neighbors, your friends, your leader, the people that you're leading, you are inspiring people because you keep stepping up. You keep stepping out, which is a courageous act. When I started, like I said, I did not have any skills, abilities to create where I am today. But I had courage inside of me to say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I may not know how, but I'm going to do this, and I'm going to stick side by side with Arash. So what you see here today, people say, oh, Monica, it's easy for you. No, like it was not. Like if you were to met me 8 years ago, you wouldn't even recognize a person here. I was shy. I was not confident in this the way you see me today, but I had a deep desire to become more, be more, do more, and have more. And that is why you guys are all here. You guys know that you can be more. There's something inside of you that is saying, come on, get going. There's more for us to do here. So when you are courageous, anyone who is successful has built that into their habits, their behaviors, their identity. Successful people are willing to do things that people who are not successful are not willing to do. It's a courageous act. It takes courage to bet on yourself. Like Arash said this morning, I love how you went deep into courage because I had to muster up a lot of courage constantly every day. I had to wake up and keep reinventing myself from the day before and the day after. So courage is not a one-time thing that you do. You want to build this in and get really comfortable with stepping out, betting on yourself. Think about your goal right now for a minute. And think about, it should be a stretch goal, something you have no idea how. It's going to take a lot of courage on a day-to-day basis for you to achieve this. But when you develop a great relationship with courage, you will be inspired to step out and take actions that are perhaps very uncomfortable, but guess what? You're going to get so connected to your goal, you're going to have so much passion towards it because you have a bond with it. It's become a love story. So passion keeps the fire alive. Passion will wake you up in the morning and it will ignite something in you that you wake up very fulfilled because you're moving towards something bigger than where you are currently at. So if you're not passionate towards your goal, you want to spend some time with it. You want to use repetition. You want to use what the process that Arash talked about repetition. You can use ThinkUp. Use different tools that you have available to you to spend time with your goal. Use your imagination. And I had a lot of fear when I came in because I was shy. I did not know how to do this. So a lot of fear kept creeping up. And my go-to at that time, I would feel fear and I would run away. I would ignore it. I would I'll deal with this another time. I'll take that action step next week. Let me do this. Let me do the easy things, right? So I was moving away from fear, and there was a point in my journey where I wasn't experiencing results because I let fear control me and I wasn't stepping out. So I was essentially not getting anywhere. I was actually probably moving backwards because we're either growing or we're moving backwards, never actually standing still. So the fear kept consuming me and I thought, I gotta deal with this. And there was one year I made a commitment to myself that every time I felt fear, I was gonna embrace it. I was gonna walk through that barrier. I was going to move that fearful emotions that I was feeling because it would aid in my growth. So I'm going to teach you how to move from fear to freedom, how to develop a great relationship with fear, because every time you face that thing you fear, that's a choice you make. You make a choice to face that thing you fear, you will grow. You'll start to move the needle. So we're all resisting something, I bet, in this room. What are you resisting the most to do that you know you need to do, but you've resisted to do? Think about that one thing. These should be at the top of your list. When you're going into your goal achieving activities, these should be at the top of your list. Get those ones out of the way first thing, then the rest of the day, you have so much momentum, you've gained confidence through that. And your identity has completely transformed. Just from a day-to-day basis, if you face that fear, that thing that you fear, you're going to grow your image. You're going to grow confidence through that. So I'm going to go through an identity process for you that I have experienced, and it is a physical transformation of myself. And you can see, the reason why I'm choosing pictures, because it's relatable. You guys can see here, I've completely transformed my body. And I usually make a joke about the first picture. This was in the 90s, and I did not get the memo that the 80s were over, but anyhow, I want to walk you through this because I want you to understand every next level of growth is going to require a different you to show up. So from that first picture to the last picture, I had to completely reinvent myself on a day-to-day basis. And there's a lot of people transforming their body and they're not experiencing the growth internally. They're using their will. They're using their willpower to maybe get that end transformation, but they don't feel fulfilled and happy on the inside. That is not freedom. That's not mentally and emotionally freedom. What we're teaching you here is how to create true fulfillment, where you've done the deep work, where you truly feel happy with who you are because you know who you are as well. So that first picture, I was 16 years old, and I had an emotional impact the year before. I was sexually abused, and that instantly impacted my life. Like Arash said this morning, I'm 47. We've all had some sort of trauma in our life. And think about what has happened in your life. You probably have had multiple things that maybe have happened, like a loss of a loved one, loss of a job. There's things that happen. Life is going to be there. Adversity is going to be there for sure. But we want to be able to use what we've been given in order to heal and purify. So at 16, I developed a terrible relationship with food. I went into hiding. I did not want to be seen. I didn't want any attention on me at all. And I went into a 20-year cycle of feeling sorry for myself. I was trying to do this work. I felt better, but I wasn't actually making the transformation. And the second picture here is, it was just before I met Arash. I was pregnant with my last son, who is 12 years old now. I was 8 months pregnant and I wasn't feeling great. I went to the doctors, and next thing you know, I was rushed to the hospital for emergency C-section. It was very, very quick pace. I was in surgery, and the doctors, I could hear them saying, okay, we have to save one or the other. Which one is going to be? And in that moment, time stood still. It was the most terrifying moment of my life, but it was the most liberating moment in my life, because in that moment, I said to myself, save me and my baby, and I promise you I will become who I'm meant to become. And I made that vow to myself. It was the most terrifying moment of my life, but I finally owned it. I finally wanted to walk out of there and completely own who I want to become. I didn't even know what it looked like. All I knew was, on some faith level, I was so tired of playing small when I wanted to win big. So think about that. If you want to win big, you can't play small. I was at home feeling sorry for myself, and for 20 years, everything on the outside looked great. I had a wonderful husband, kids. I wore the mask really well. And I was afraid to take off that mask, but I took it one day at a time, one step at a time. And the middle picture is where I met Arash. And that's where the real work began. The moment I heard his voice, I knew he could toughen me up. I knew he could bring out something in me that I could not bring out on my own. And I went to work. It wasn't perfect every day. In fact, I was losing on a daily basis. I was losing, but I had passion, I had courage, I had enthusiasm every day. That would combat the fear, the doubt, the worry. It was still there. It was tough. It was still there, but I completely reinvented myself. I call this the messy middle phase too. You have to constantly wake up and reinvent yourself. Even when you don't see the scale moving, the business income moving, like even when you don't see results, I had to keep showing up. And are you willing to do that? Think about that. Maybe you came here because you're on your way to your goal, but you've experienced failure after failure. Do you have a clear picture of where you want to end up? I knew exactly that end picture. That was just taken in September. I knew exactly where I wanted to end up in my physical transformation for 20 years of bad habits, bad behaviors, self-sabotaging thoughts that I could not remove. Are you willing to keep showing up even when you don't see results? Because you know inside, you know on a deep soul level that you will achieve it. If you can work on developing that connection, a deep knowingness that you're going to achieve your goal, I promise you it must move into form. It must. It has to move into form by law. But I couldn't experience that growth overnight because I had to grow. I had to experience the lessons. And, the last picture there, people just think it's easy. No, it is an enormous amount of repetition, enormous amount of reps you put in every day on a consistent basis. And then all of a sudden there's going to be a shifting day. A shifting day will occur. Your business will change. And in terms of the business, when I started here, I had to completely reinvent myself in my business. So you may be here at the starting point. Maybe you came here and you got a brand new idea and you want to learn how to transform your goal. Maybe you're at the starting point, or maybe you're in the messy middle phase where you got chaos, confusion, you need new processes, you need deeper understanding. What's working before is not working right now. You need to kind of reinvent that middle phase. You're being tested. Or perhaps you're at the end, you just accomplished a great benchmark and you're here to set a brand new goal. So you fit in one of those categories, but every next level, you can still faintly see the background, every next level of your business is going to require a different you to show up. So you have an identity of your business, and you also have an identity of who you need to become to achieve that business goal, to achieve that income goal. So when I started here, I was a hairstylist for 18 years. I was earning $24,000 a year. My identity was of a hairstylist. So when I came here, I chose to let go of that career. Even though it was hard, I loved my clients, I just outgrew that. I completely outgrew that type of career. I knew where I wanted to go. I knew where my passion laid. But I was earning $24,000 a year. And this was my 5-year journey to hit $1 million. But my first year, if you were to follow me on a day-to-day basis, I was losing. If you were to watch me, you would be like, there's no way she's going to create a quantum leap her first year. I was failing and I was failing constantly. I came in, I had no social media following. I had no idea how to become, my goal was to become #1 top performer on Arash's team that ever hit $1 million. That was a huge idea. I did not know how to coach and consult clients. I had no social media following. I was shy. I had limited vocabulary in my language and my words. I would stutter. So I want you to think for yourself right now for a moment and look, if I can do it, you can do it. I truly believe that. We were not given this gift. Every successful person was once a starter. Everyone. But if you see people and you admire what you see in them, like I saw in Arash, I knew I could accomplish it with the right guidance, with the right support. So my first year, I multiplied my income by 16 times. But there was many months before at the beginning, I saw nothing and nothing and nothing, but I kept waking up. I kept putting in the effort without the loss of that enthusiasm, that passion, and courage kept building. Those muscles are in your subconscious mind. They want to be developed. They want to be molded as well. So every time you use them, you're getting stronger. You're deepening that connection. And then there was the middle phase again. So the middle phase here where I was being tested, I remember saying to Arash, I said, Arash, I should be further ahead. I'm doing all the right things and I'm following all the direction you're giving me. And he said, you know, Arash always gives you the complete truth. He's like, Monica, nope, you're exactly where you should be because of your thinking, because of your action steps. If you want to create a jump, you're going to have to change everything that you're doing. You have to go deeper into your processes. You got to get more comfortable with who you are. You can't ignore what you need to work on. So that middle phase here, I mean, if you look at it, it was incremental improvements. And most people would be like, oh, yeah, you're doing great. And I said that to myself. Why would I want to keep going? Look, life is great. I'm earning the most I've ever earned. I start to rationalize, and I'm starting to catch these things. I was like, God, this is exactly where I'm just making small jumps. And, you know, the middle phase was really interesting because I was making the million look really big as well. So if you're making your income goal big, we have to look at that and break it down. It's just a number. Rasha, this morning, your goal is your goal. Not big or small, it is your goal. And then you have to own that. I had to make it look small. I got tested as well by someone who I really respected. And this was a situation that itself doesn't matter, but it shook me. It actually, I wanted to walk away from everything. That's how much it affected me. And I was debating, it was 3 days, I was really wondering, okay, what am I gonna do here? I was being tested. Everything that I built up, I was almost thinking about walking away. And I had to make a decision because it really rattled me. And I thought I have two choices here. Number one, I can walk away from my purpose, my passion, everything that I've built up. I can walk away from it. Or choice two, I can stay and build more strength, build and purify my heart through all of this. And I chose to stay. These are the choices. You will get tested throughout it. You will get adversity when you're working towards your goal. But you want to make those choices because I personally was so connected to my goal, nothing was going to get me away from it. And that's the relationship. You want to fall in love with your goal. Create a great bond with it because no matter what situation happens, you can still maintain your vision, your goal, your purpose. You'll be able to move through things that hit you hard. So that last year, I remember going to Arash and I was making the million look really big. And it was in July. And I said to him, I said, Arash, I said, God, I just want this so badly. I know I'm going to achieve it. I want it. And he's like, you got to detach from it. This number's owning you. Just relax. If you were to achieve your goal, how would you feel? And I took a step back, and when I really heard him that day, and I thought about, I wanted it so badly, but wanting something means I don't have it yet. It all clicked together. I thought, oh, okay, I have to already be at that fused end goal. So no joke later, by November 2021, I hit the million. So I want you to look at your goal and build that bond with it, build that belief with it, become one with it, make it an incredible love story. You will get thrown off. Challenges will hit you. You will have to slay your own dragon. The paradigm wants control of you. It does not want you to grow. It wants you to keep you safe and comfortable. And we have to have power over it. We're all here to remove limitations. Right now, I believe all of us in this room are breaking generational limitations by being here. We are stepping up ourselves. So we're breaking limitations that other people are putting on themselves by just showing up. But we have to go deep and do the deep work. Slaying the dragon is so close to my heart because it's a specific process that Arash helped me combat adversity. I had a self-sabotaging behavior that did not serve me. It was holding me back from my image. Mine was binging and purging with food. And I had thinking patterns that wasn't great. But this is what Arash does. If anyone works closely with him, he will create a specific process for you, tailored for you to remove any sort of habits or behaviors or thinking so it can be permanently gone. He will create process for you to create winning processes for you to implement every day so you can adapt. He tailorizes it. So it's not general. This is something that is very specific. If you have something that is holding you back and you follow this, you will win. Now there's 6 steps to this, and they're in no particular order, but I want you to write these all 6 down because when you're back home or you want to remove something, I spoke to several people this morning. I said, pay attention to this process because I've taught it to hundreds of our clients and they have transformed any sort of limits. But pay attention when I'm speaking about each process step, which one is really hitting at you? Which one's really tugging at your heart? This is going to create your own process. And if you have any questions about it, the coaches are all here. We will help formulate the process for you if you're confused. But the first step is your attitude. Now, when Arash taught me this, he says, Monica, I want you to change your attitude towards it and towards yourself. I knew I could change my attitude towards it. I'm very good at changing my attitude towards a situation, towards someone. But when he said you have to change your attitude towards yourself as well, that made all the difference. So my attitude shifted from, instead of being embarrassed by binging and purging, self-sabotaging habits and behaviors, I gave myself love, grace, and understanding. I changed my attitude towards myself. So think about something that is stopping you from reaching your desired image. What habit? What behavior? It could be worrying about what people are thinking. It could be shrinking. It could be misuse of distractions with social media. Whatever is stopping you from achieving your goal that you need to face, you want to look at this and change your attitude towards it and towards yourself. This is going to create solutions. And detachment. You want to detach from that behavior. This is where you take all your mind power and you focus on building the new habits and the new behaviors. So your mind is in a neutral state when you're detached. You become solution thinking. Detachment is a gift you give yourself. Anything that you're attached to, it owns you. It owns your mind. It owns your power. So when I was doing this, instead of focusing on the old, I was focusing on building the new. And it's such a simple shift in your day when you feel the sensation or you feel the trigger creep up. You detach by neutralizing your mind. It is what it is. And then I went into my attitude, changed my attitude towards myself, and I start to neutralize my mind so I wouldn't go into that old destructive behavior. Standard is, it's so misunderstood, I think. And watching Arash, even just being in here, we're raising your standard. Being around Arash raises your standard, just listening to him. But standard is where you're channeling in a stronger version of yourself. When I was going through this process with Arash, we were on the phone, and he says, Monica, I want you to own your power. Channel in a strongest version of yourself when you feel you're at your weakest. Look at that dragon over there. Like, I'm eye to eye with it. You become eye to eye with that dragon. You're not shrinking. It's not got power over you. You're facing it head on. This is a standard. You're like, no, I am not doing this. You draw the line in the sand and you hold yourself to that standard in the moment of weakness. Because you will have time. You will have times when you're going to feel weak. Like all of us right now, take a moment and just think about channeling in a much stronger version of yourself than you are right now. In an instant, your imagination can take you to that stronger vision. In an instant. You want to hold and connect to that. So you're building an interior core, not based on results, the number on the scale, the income. You're building an interior core based on a standard, based on brand new habits, behaviors, falling in love with the journey. Now all of a sudden, the dragon, you got control. It's still there, but you got control over it. You got the whole world on you. You can really go into the creation mode now because you have your mind power in control. It doesn't have control over you. It's still going to come up, but you want to use these tools. And then Naresh said, Monica, I want you to record 5 to 10 power statements. And I was very specific, very selective with my power statements. I always have been. I love creating them. But the way I create them is, another word for power statements is affirmations. And the reason why I call them power statements is because I attach a solution onto an affirmation. So you want to create your power statements, but attaching a solution. So in the moment of weakness, you've done the repetition work, so you're prepared for the dragon. So for example, I would say to myself, I am so happy and grateful now that I love and respect my body. I always choose what the healthy, fit woman would do. Boom. So in the moment of weakness, when I felt like being weak, no, I tapped into the stronger version of myself and I had the solution. What would the healthy, fit woman do? Remember, I had a 20-year battle trying to release weight that I couldn't. So some of these habits were really deeply rooted. But slaying the dragon process, no joke, 3 months later, I removed that sabotaging habit that I had, which was binging and purging. I'm so far from that person, I don't even recognize that person anymore. You can remove anything that has been controlling you in 90 days. Do not underestimate the power of 90 days of focus intensity on upgrading. Do not underestimate the power of a year, the power of 90 days. Everything that you do is choosing your tomorrow for a better you. Everything, all your choices. And then emotionally free. Who does not want to become emotionally free? Who wants to become emotionally free, right? Exactly. So that's what I fell in love with. So rather than focusing on, I used to say, I used to be very judgmental towards myself, be hard on myself, embarrassed. I would say to myself, I'm going to become emotionally free. I'm going to give myself love, grace, and understanding. So I wanted to feel that freedom. And there's no amount of income that's going to create that unless you do that deep work. And the last one is everything you're doing is moving you towards your goal. Everything. Absolutely everything. So your actions, your thinking, your attitude, everything is taking you to your goal. Absolutely everything. All your decisions, all your choices, when you connect to your goal properly, it's going to be easy. Arash said last week, we're on a call with our peak performers. He says it's really, really easy to work on your self-image. All you have to do is focus on behaviors and accepting new ideas. That's it. So why do we make it harder? Right? We make it harder because some of these paradigms are really deeply rooted. So rather than that, we just focus on building the new. It's much funner. But what you can do, now you're prepared. So when the old model creeps up, in an instant, you can shift it by using one of these tools. I needed all 6, but you may need 3 out of the 6 or 2 out of the 6. And if you need help determining that, let me know. Let one of the coaches know. We can help you with it. But anyone who has followed this has become free. And I want you to get serious about that because you're here to transform. Once you transform up here, everything else follows through. You will be thrown off. That's part of it. You're going to get, thrown off, back on, thrown off, back on. But I want to show you what 1% off, 1% better means to me. So I understood the concept, 1% better, 1% better. It made sense. I understood it to some degree, but I still didn't have a connection to it. I wanted to really deepen this lesson, and I'm a very visual learner. So I thought, okay, how can I get 1% better and teach it to my clients? So I'm going to show you with a visual. So you're here at Transform, okay? And the real work is gonna begin once you get home, okay? But here's your goal right here, okay? And this is you. And you go home and you're fused with your goal, you're side by side, you just came back from Transform, you're on fire, you're inspired, you know exactly what you wanna do, and you go back home, and then all of a sudden maybe you share your vision and your goal with your team or your family. And they say to you, you're crazy, you can't do that. And all of a sudden your attitude shifts and your beliefs and doubts come in. And all of a sudden here's your goal and you're moving out here. And you start to feel like, God, can I do it? Can I do it? Maybe I'm not. And you go a little bit on. Oh, I can do it, a little bit on. And then the next day, you get a refund, or a sale doesn't come through, or someone says something to you again and you want to shrink, or you want to post that video on social media, you're like, no, I can't do that, I'm going to be embarrassed. What if so-and-so sees it? Off. Then you're out 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Here's your goal. You're moving in this direction. Your goal is here. You're off degrees. You're not fused by it side by side. So to do all of that work to come back, it's going to take a tremendous amount of discipline in your thinking to come back on track. Then you're just at the starting point. So this is what 1% off and on looks like. So you're back home from Transform, and let's say you share your message or your goal, your vision with your team and your family. And they say the same thing, like, oh, you're crazy, you can't do that. And you get a little bit off, you're like, you know what? You say to yourself silently, I understand that they don't understand, that's okay, they don't need to, I'm just gonna keep showing up, on.